Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Engearment.com podcast. We're really excited to have back our very first guest and a good friend of mine, Rafael Pease. Good to see you, brother. How are you?
Likewise, I'm doing great. A little bit just tired, just brewing. So
you get up at like 3 or 4 this morning?
I went to bed at 2 and I woke up at 4. So
that's not even sleeping.
It's not sleeping. It's
Gosh, that's horrible. So you are laying over in Denver. We just got done having brunch, and you're on the way to Chile?
Yeah, I'm going down to Chile for various reasons, seeing family, finishing up these 2 films, doing a pilot for a TV show, and a lot of environmental and political justice kind of things. The country's in meltdown situation, so.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, because over brunch, you're blowing my mind. Like, this week alone, you think it might be a coup? Overtaking the government?
I didn't say that.
No? Okay, I'll say it.
It's 50-50 from what I'm hearing, but you never know till it happens.
Right.
But the fact that people are even bringing it up is scary, and the fact that the military and the police officers are out in the streets with guns shooting at people trying to protect just the environment, I think it's wild. That doesn't happen in most places.
No, in America, I mean, we see stuff when we get kind of feel outraged, but I've never seen something that extreme.
Yeah, for 140 days in a row. So it's been months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're going down to Chile to promote your 2 movies?
Not promote, just to see how the editing process is going on. We were shooting for mid-March delivery date, but the films are doing a lot better than we all expected. We went through all the footage, the interviews, and everything is very dramatic and well filmed and well directed. So we're going to take our time to give the art the passion and love it deserves. But I will have private trailers for March for the film festivals I have to go to and talk about the projects. But the films will be coming out fall of 2020.
Wonderful. Yeah. Very excited to see that. And good on you guys to go and let the films get the attention they deserve to make more production out of it.
You can't rush that kind of stuff.
No. So, okay, can you tell the listeners and readers and viewers more about your movies?
So this past summer for the Northern Hemisphere or winter for the Southern Hemisphere, I was down in Chile for about 7 months, and the film Tupungatu is a full-length feature documentary, which it's a volcano. It's 21,555 feet. And no one's ever done it in winter. No one's ever skied or snowboarded it. Whatever. We did it. It was a huge mess. The mountains are private from the corporate greed, political corruption. So it took me months to get just like access. I had to say we were doing the research study and working for the government, which I got in a lot of trouble because I never completed my government agreement.
Oh.
They were asking for a lot. They were asking for rights to every footage. They were asking for me to give talks at the parliament. They were asking for a lot of stuff. And I'm like, hey, you guys have made it super difficult for the last 3 years for me to get on this peak. And this was my 4th attempt. And it's just been the battle, like climbing the volcano alone. It's tough. We went 7 people deep, 740 pounds of gear, no machinery, no helicopters, snowmobiles,
all human powered,
100% human powered, no porters, nothing. And we carried all that gear and weight out, and it was terrible. We did I don't know how much vertical feet, but it was like over 60,000 feet, I think, over 140 miles, all human powered.
Oh my gosh,
terrible, And it's that kind of documentary. Like the whole purpose of it for me, the first couple of years of trying to climb this peak, was a personal obsession of conquer and like be the number one, first descent, like super broy. And I just realized, like, who cares about that?
Good for
like
you.
The people who care are just they have the wrong mindset. And then it started transitioning into like a land rights and water rights kind of summit, go climb just to bring attention to the area. And then it turned into like, hey, let's protect this place. The land was taken from the military back to public lands and in public hands. And I saw this opportunity, like, let's go climb it now, show the world and the Chilean people what this place even looks like. There's no photos, there's no info, there's no trails, there's nothing. Wow. So we were the first people to document the whole place, big many 20,000 foot peaks, insane everything,
Yeah.
just wildlife. The whole thing was just incredible. I've never seen any place like that in my life. And the whole idea was just go out there, climb it just to bring attention. No one's going to care if we just go hiking for 3 weeks. But if we achieve to create a new route in midwinter, snowboard and ski descent from such a high peak in the whole world is kind of unheard of. And successfully doing it is crazy. So we kind of use that to bring attention to the whole conservation part of the project. And you know, it worked out, and the film has brought a lot of attention so far, and it hasn't even been released.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Like, we're trying to protect this place, create a national park that's 410,000 acres in the middle of the biggest city in South America, well, Western South America, in Santiago, Chile. And we're going up against some of the biggest multinational corporations in the mining world and hydroelectric world. And, like, it's straight out of a mob movie. Like, you get, I've gotten so many death threats. I've had so many weird experiences and been targeted on the airports, been targeted in the city, going out to restaurants and all this crazy stuff, which I haven't told like my close friends and family because it is scary, especially with the political situation in Chile. A lot of environmentalists have been killed. A lot of people have been kidnapped and have been missing for months now. So I kind of have to lay low and be careful what I say. I've been banned on a couple of TV channels, and it's been crazy. I never thought it was going to become such a intense political, like straight out of a Hollywood movie kind of thing, but it happened so fast from one day to the other. One day you're climbing, snowboarding a peak, doing TV interviews and meeting with some of the best scientists and activists in Latin America for interviews for the project. And next thing you know, you're at the protests almost every day talking to TV channels. And next thing you know, have a huge target from the military, the politicians, the corporate people. And, you know, at the end of the day, we're just trying to protect the mountains and give everyone access to mountains that are already in public hands. But the gate is owned by private European companies. So we're just trying to fix the situation, protect the glaciers, the water for 6 million people. We're not trying to become a radical group of changing the world. We just want to see things be normal, you know?
I think that's a very noble mission, and it makes complete sense no matter how you view, you know, politics and everything. You're fighting a good fight.
Yeah, it's not about being right, left, up or down, or whatever color, race, or religion. It's like just let people do what they're meant to do, which is explore when they want to. Not saying it's what everyone wants to do, but just have it as an option instead of exploiting the whole area and contaminating the water. Like, the benefits are so big economically, health-wise for the ecosystem and for the people, that it just blows my mind that it's even the question.
Right.
Yeah.
Talking about you and I, and like, why is this even having the opposition at all?
Yeah.
But
it's a reality. Like, this Chile is just like one example. This happens in the U.S. They're auctioning part of some national monument in Utah right now, and all these other things in Canada. And I don't know. The list goes on forever, and it blows my mind. But my idea is like, yeah, I'd love to do this in the U.S., but let's start somewhere where I know everyone in the government. I know all the people. It's a smaller country. It's easier to do something there. But the idea is to create a domino effect change where if I fail, me and my team fail, me and the community fail at doing this, maybe the worst case scenario is we create a domino effect where other people in the world see like, hey, these guys busted their balls to do this. They failed, but everyone knows about the place now and they know what's happening, and maybe we could do this in our own backyard.
Right. You know what? And I've known you for, I think, 4 years now, and I was watching you as you're graduating from CU. You're passionate, and your first movie, Yugen, was amazing. Did you ever think you would be here now fighting to make a national park in Chile?
You know, I haven't really changed since I was a kid. Like, you could ask my parents. They always thought I was the most stubborn, ambitious person in the world. I just never thought the whole film would be a side of things. I thought the media, TV, the news, and radio would just show what's actually happening, and I guess that was just me being naive, really. But the whole film is just an excuse to show people the beauty and the reality of what's going on. Like, we're not only interviewing and documenting like the beauty and like what we want, we're also showing the other side of things. Like, hey, maybe like this mine could bring a lot of jobs to the people. But then we're interviewing like economists and these extremely professional PhD individuals who tell us about like, yeah, if we put the mine here, the GDP will go up significantly in the country, but only for a decade, and then it crashes. You have economic decay in the whole country, and in exchange, like if we create a national park, it'll be the biggest in the country, essentially for tourism, bigger than Torres del Paine, and you know it's 40 miles from the capital and the airport, so you could go airport. In 50 minutes, you're at this beautiful national park, so much money in and out, biggest peaks in the world for elevation gain. Like Himalayas are great, but the plateau's at 18,000 feet. Here you're starting at 7,000 feet and you're going up to 22.
Yeah.
So it's a very different thing. You don't need to have that kind of preparedness to go to the Himalayas for months. Here you just show up from the boat if you want in the Bahamas, and you could start off slowly at 7,000 feet and work your way up to 22, and if that's your goal.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that put it in good context for me at least. Yeah, imagine like for people here in Colorado, you fly into Denver and then within 45 minutes you're up doing a major objective.
Same thing.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's like if you don't want to explore the rest of the country, it's like you got that right there. And for the Chilean people, it's a very elitist mindset to say, hey, like I live in this city where I could see these huge peaks 40 miles from my house, but there's no access to it. So I got to save up thousands of dollars for planes, hotels, car rentals, whatever, and go to Patagonia. And like maybe 1% of the population can afford that. So it's like you have 99% of the people who have in the country that's super narrow, where the beach is only an hour and a half one way and the mountains are an hour and a half the other way, that haven't never been to either because of how inaccessible it is financially, and it's all privatized.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm not trying to like change the country and
sure.
be the hero and whatever. I just want people to have the same opportunities that I have had, where I could just go wherever I want, whenever I want. And it's not even a money thing. It's just an opportunity thing. I've been able to see and view the mountains in a different way, where I don't need a trail, but most people don't have that experience where they could go off trail and go wherever they want and like figure it out. Some people need park rangers, they need like a bathroom system, they need trail systems, they need like, you know, assistance out there. So, you know, it's a benefit in a billion ways, and it's just so frustrating. So it's kind of going down there to finish those films and kind of promote the new constitution that's going to be going in place in April.
Oh, wow.
Which is like, there's a million reasons the country's falling apart. You know, there's no social security. The educational system's messed up. Minimum wage is $2.50 an hour, but gas is $10 a gallon. Cucumbers like $3.
What?
So you have like these huge inequalities. It's the most unequal country in the world. But beyond that, it's like, I'm just going there I can't really talk much in that sense because I am fortunate enough to where I could work in the U.S. and make different kind of salary. But I'm just going out there to promote a greener constitution where people have more environmental rights, more human rights for the environment, and vice versa. And just give people the access. Like, hey, if you want to go to the beach over the weekend or the mountains with your family, like it's there as an option instead of the polar opposite where they're taking the water and land away and contaminating it.
Oh.
So, yeah.
You know, it's these kinds of conversations with people outside of America that really help give me and hopefully the listeners and viewers better empathy and context for the resources we have and probably take it for granted, you know?
Yeah, but it's all relative. Like the U.S. is a massive country of almost 400 million people here, and the land is immense. It goes on forever. But the U.S. has its fair share of environmental problems. Yeah.
For sure. Oh, that's crazy. So can you talk about the people that were on your movies with you? Well,
that was the Tupungatu film. Sorry, the answer took forever. But the other one we did was Corcovado. I don't know if you guys have seen 180 Degrees South with Yvon Chouinard, I believe, Jimmy Chin and all those other guys. when I was out in Tupungatu, this guy, Eric Ropke, I hired him to come be like a filmer / mountaineer partner. Like, dude's a mule. He's a big, strong dude.
Mm-hmm.
I hope he's listening because he's a rad guy. And, you know, you get to talking. You spend 21 days in the tent together. You watch all the Office episodes you can. You say all the shitty jokes a million times. Like, you do everything at least a million times. And then he's like, oh, so what other peaks have you climbed out here? You know, we want to do all the volcanoes on the Ring of Fire. There's a billion volcanoes. And then I started telling him about Corcovado, the one that I did. And he's like, oh, I watched 180 degrees south. And that's the peak they were trying to do. And they failed. And I told him, like, hey, I tried it 2 years ago. And he's like, no way. Like, told me all his childhood dreams about it and how it's changed his career. And Eric is dedicated the last couple of years of just being a dirtbag filmer and being a dirtbag mountaineer. And he's achieving it, which is super cool. But he was telling me about it. I'm like, all right, well, we just need a little bit of cash and we'll go do it how we do everything with little cash and a lot of motivation.
I like that.
And I said that jokingly because we were on like a 20-day expedition, and the last thing I want to do was go back to back on another extremely gnarly one, which was only 10 days long, but still like extreme in every aspect of it. And we got the funding, and I was like, fuck, this is happening. I was there 2 years ago, and it was one of the worst trips of my life. And I didn't really tell them directly how bad it was because I didn't want to ruin their experience. And we went, you know, and that film is, I don't know how to explain it. It's supposed to be adventure with purpose, but realistically, it's just humans facing every single objective hazard possible. We took a little dinghy boat, I'm talking 20 feet, out into the Pacific Ocean in the storm.
Sounds like a great idea.
And it took like 2.5 hours in the mild, like nice weather day. You know, you got big waves that you have to get wet getting off the boat into the island. Jungles, swamps full of leeches, ice fall, big, strong Patagonian winds, avalanches, rockfall, steep snow and ice, like 70 degrees climbing. And that's just part of it. It rains so much, like inches.
This sounds miserable.
Every day, hypothermia, whatever, all of that. And then on the way out, the 2-hour boat ride took us like 6 hours. The waves in the ocean were bigger than the boat. I got hit by the boat getting into the ocean to grab the rope. My phone went flying, my gear. I had an 80-pound backpack. You know, the whole fucking place was messed up. Steep creeks, big boulders. Like, I'm talking about 100-pound boulders covered in slime that you have to hold on to with your life. And half of them fell out because the soil was so wet. But you look down and it's like a 40-foot drop off into the riverbed, and like you fall, you break your leg, you die there. Yeah. And that was literally a game of luck and praying to every single god that I could remember from whatever TVs and books I've read. Yeah. But I don't know how we made it out of that one. But we achieved the highest skiable point. We didn't summit because we're not the world's best mountaineers. Sure. You can't do it. In a sense, there's been like 6 expeditions out there, only 3 have succeeded. I'm talking about like in all of history, and like 2 of my buddies' expeditions succeeded, and I have so much respect for them. They're extremely talented ice climbers. And then they're like, oh, you guys are taking skis and snowboards, and they're like, what is wrong with you guys? Like, we just went 3 days in fast, like super lightweight gear, and then they're like, oh, you guys went for a week with climbing gear, camping gear, filming gear, and skiing gear. It's like you carried 4 times as much as all of us, and you guys we did a great job, I believe. And yeah, that's Corcovado, so that one's going to be coming out in line with Tupungatu, but essentially it's one of the first national parks that was created in the area under the Tompkins Conservation. And we kind of just wanted to mirror the differences between a place that is immense and could have a lot of potential that is being destroyed currently by the mining, so the Tupungatu area. Oh, that's unfortunate. And then show like the benefits of like this place has been wild forever, and like we suffered the consequences of extreme wilderness, like to the dime. Like every single thing was extreme, and it was beautiful. You know, like we're out there with nature, and this is a national park with 0 access, but we want to find the middle ground. Like, okay, we know we have to make it accessible to people because they don't want 410,000 acres of closed land 40 miles away from an 8 million person city, which is 60% of the country's population.
Yeah.
So it's a middle ground. We wanted to show like the benefits of conservation and then the possibilities of conserving a place, so the national park creation. So those two projects will be coming out soon. And then we got a couple others in the work.
Oh my goodness.
It's just busy.
You are busy. I mean, over brunch, I mean, I couldn't even catch my breath trying to take it all in, all the stuff you're doing we haven't even talked about yet. So you're going down there to finish up editing and then speak, and then these will be released in the fall of 2020.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, everything's a little bit slower now since these protests. I mean, everything is kind of falling apart. Things are slow. Like everything's been delayed 1 or 2 months because cities are burning. There's no public transportation, which is like, it sounds terrible, but they're the consequences of having a corrupt government for 30 years.
Right.
So it's kind of like slowed our editing process, and I don't want to complain about it because there's way more important things at stake. But the sponsors and the film festivals and everyone know, and they're like, hey, it's like things happen for a reason. Maybe look at it from a different perspective. Since you have all this extra time, look at the footage a million times and see how you can make it that much better. So that's what I've been doing lately, and just going down now to go see how the first cut is, really. It's not even to finish it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting. And this is all through Connections Movements?
Yeah.
Awesome. That's Rafael's production company. Oh, it's exciting. And when it becomes available to purchase, where would it?
I'm not selling it.
Oh, even
I'm
better.
just putting it online for free.
That's the best.
These films are so personal to me and so dramatic. But beyond that, they're extremely educational. And, you know, I'm kind of against the system right now in my point of life because it hasn't been working for a lot of people. So what kind of hypocrite would I be if I am selling something that has the possibility of educating, I don't know, all the viewers and creating a change? So I'm going to translate it to as many languages, 15 or whatever, and put it online for free and promote the shit out of it so everyone could watch it and share it. You could download it, you could pirate it, you could do whatever you want with it. I don't really care anymore.
Just view it and share it.
And Yugen's going to be online for free, and like whenever I have the time to put it online for free.
Yeah. Well, Yugen's great. I've watched it at least a dozen times, and so when it's live for free, let us know. We'll share it.
Let's see, we're March 2nd, so I'm thinking like, April's a good month?
April's fantastic. It's up next. Yeah, let's do it then.
All right, we'll do April.
April. It's how many languages is in Yugen?
We interviewed like 20 different languages. I didn't know what half the people were saying because I don't speak tiny indigenous community dialects. Right. And then you try to translate it. You know, I went to CU in Boulder, Colorado, and they have a great native program there. So I spoke with the professors. No one could help me out. So unfortunately, a lot of the interviews didn't make it because we couldn't translate them. Yeah. But in the film itself, I think I only decided to put like 6 or 7 languages, what made most sense. Sure. But I have hundreds of hours of like the most intense Nat Geo-esque footage, which I'm just going to sit on for a couple of years. And once I do like 5 movies, I'll make like a general, just adventure, beauty kind of Nat Geo film and just put it online for free for people to enjoy. But
that's so exciting. You are like National Geographic, just run around on Splitboard and just
but different.
You're dirtbagging it up and you're authentic and you're advocating for all kinds of the right reasons.
It's more like a run and gun kind of style though.
Yeah, it is run. Yeah. I can appreciate that.
We're so dependent on the weather and political issues. And like we go into some pretty dangerous parts of countries or in the world that we kind of just see what happens and roll with it. Like, okay, this is happening. We're going to give it our 200% until it changes. Same thing with weather. You know, you go climb a mountain, and if the weather changes on you, you don't go home. You go with plan B. You adapt to the situation, and that's kind of my whole idea on everything that I've been doing.
I like that a lot. What movie were you filming when I got a message from you on your inReach? You're like, Sean, what is the wind speed and temperature at this time of day at this elevation? Oh. It was like a
what month was that?
I feel like it was like 3 or 4 months ago.
Oh, that was Tupungatu,
Yeah.
Dude, that was messed up. We had like 120 mile an hour wind gusts.
I can't even comprehend that. That's crazy.
I mean, the way you could comprehend it is you see a 400-pound boulder moving down the mountain because of the wind, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That thing is heavy. Like, what happens when we go up there with our sails of split boards and skis on our backpacks, let alone trying to film in that? Like, there's certain extreme environments where you want to film, but when you can't even hold the camera steady and you can't, the sound is so intense.
Yeah.
And your filmers, like, you got to pay them a lot of money for them to have frostbite. You know what I mean? So, and I don't want them to get injured. But yeah, there's not really any forecast for remote peaks, and no one's really done. So, yeah, and there's a nice article coming out in the Chilean magazine, I think this month, about the project. It's in Spanish, but I could translate it for you guys. It's super personal, a lot of personal questions about obsession and the risk tolerance.
I think that's something you have a unique risk tolerance compared to some people. I know the very first time when you're going out to do Yugen, we're having a hamburger and we're talking about some of the stuff you've encountered, immortality, and like just accepting that you can't control all these things. It was.
I mean, I don't want to die, but like sometimes it's just what happens, you know.
Right.
And it sounds bad, but whenever I go touring day to day with my friends and the filmers and neighbors, everything, like, I have a pretty dark humor and I'll joke around about pretty dark things, but it's very serious conversation. I just have to make it a little bit comedic so they're like, oh shit, this guy's crazy. But we're like looking at a line that's super steep and exposed and very gnarly, and most people haven't really ridden stuff out there like that because they're used to doing what the guidebook says.
Sure.
And we go out. I'm like, all right, this looks good. I poked around the snow. I've been here the last 15 days. I know the cycle. I know the crystals. I know everything that's going on. But we still come up with like realistic plans. Like, if this shit slides because of that 20% unknown factor, like, these are options 1, 2, or 3. And I go from like the escape routes, the safety islands, the rescue plans, the digging, whatever. And sometimes I just look at them and like they look green pale because they're like, holy shit, this is like real. I'm like, you know what? Sometimes it's good to be very real and honest and direct, because that's how you avoid the worst case scenarios becoming worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
So I've seen how my crew in Montana has been adjusting to that weird direct honesty. And we've been killing. We've been riding some big peaks, some big lines, and no incidents, nothing. And everyone's been riding in a very different style, more of like, we're going to get the fuck off of this face in the most fun, entertaining way possible. And our risk tolerance is going to be a little bit higher because we're skiing and snowboarding it differently. But we have all these different plans set where worst case scenarios don't become worst case scenarios because we're mitigating everything at a different level. I mean, you can't compare what I'm saying to the Airy book or the guidebook or how to stay alive every day book, but I feel like our risk tolerance is good and we're having fun and no one's at an extreme danger. So, yeah, I mean, I don't force anyone to come snowboarding with me, so whatever.
You need to be pretty badass, I think, with Rafael snowboarding. Like, we were talking about this earlier. Your average day is like more than most people's like week or two. Like, it's,
I don't know. It depends on who you talk to. There's some
hardcore
go-getters
people
out there.
There are, and
but I think, I mean, I'd say like I get out 4 to 5 days a week, and each day is like an average 8 or 9 miles, like 5,000 foot of vert. And I am fortunate that I have a good diet, you know, and I go to the gym a lot. So
you train hard.
I train really hard, and I know the benefits of it because I don't really get tired in the mountains. My day is just depicted by how dark it gets, how fast. And, you know, you train hard, you eat healthy, and you're smart about it. You could be doing as big days as you feel like it. So, it's nothing special about me. Just have a good work ethic, really.
You're a professional splitboarder.
Professional dirtbag.
Yes.
With a splitboard, yeah.
And a camera. Oh, this is great stuff. Do you mind if we talk about gear? Because we're both like gear
whatever
so
you
much.
want, yeah. I mean, gear's
fun.
I mean, honestly, the best situation ever would be like if us as humans could evolve to where we could adapt to these situations and just go touring naked, like that'd be great.
Hey, I'd be into that.
Because sometimes, like, fuck, dude, the merino wool base layers, like, they're great. I love it, but you're starting at 3,000 feet in certain peaks and you're going up 5,000 feet. Like, the temperature obviously is going to change throughout the day and throughout the elevation. So it's like, what do you wear? When do you wear it? And you're never going to be perfectly comfortable. You're always going to sweat a little bit.
Yeah.
My rule is, like, just start sweating a tiny bit, then put on your shell, wear your shell, open up all your vents. I'm talking about, like, if you don't have at least 6 vents open from your legs to your jacket at the same time, you're having a bad time. Socks, always wear the thinnest socks possible, no matter how cold it is. If you don't like having cold feet, then you put, like, some weird tape on your insoles, or you kind of have some reflective tape, something, but thick socks suck. You don't want to sweat, and you want the extra heat space in your boots. Gloves, you need thin liners and good gloves as well. I mean, the whole, it's a night. You know, Sean.
That's what we do, right? I mean, how many talks have we had? How many detailed talks have we had about gear, boots, hard boots, soft boots, everything? And I always love talking about it with you because you are one of the probably handful of people I talk with that really go out and push the limits with the gear. You put like seasons of use on gear in a month. It's impressive.
Yeah.
You break everything.
You're welcome to go into my garage and grab anything. Like, I try to give some of my gear away and sell it. Like, talking about like 2020, 2021 brand new gear from next year. And it's like after a month, it's just fucked.
Yeah.
And like, my sponsors make great stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about, like, in a month, I'll get out 20 days, big days, a lot of hours, and things just get torn. And it's not because I'm like grabbing rocks or kicking things. I treat my stuff really well, but it's like, the reality is, like, if you're using it at its full max, everything has a lifespan. Yeah. And I've been talking to my sponsors. I'm like, hey, this is not everyone's day-to-day use, but I'm tired of using so much gear. I want more of a circular economy where everything could be reused, upcycled, or just last a lot longer. Like, spend a little bit more money making more durable stuff, and then we won't have to buy new jackets every year. We won't have to use as much and consume so much. So that's what I've been working on with my sponsors lately, just making more eco-sustainable, resistance, gnarly gear. Yeah. For the average user or for the guy who doesn't have anything else to do but splitboard every day. So,
can you mention what that certain product is you're working on?
There's a couple, but the one I'm most excited about is Gordini gloves. We're working on the Signature Series glove line, something that we are collaborating on, and kind of working on with nonprofits, NGOs, so they get a percentage of the sales. Thinking more of like a conservation, land rights nonprofit. So if you guys have any ideas, I'd love to hear of what nonprofits you recommend, because
that's awesome.
It is. Yeah. There's so many out there. Yeah. So many that don't deserve the money that are doing great things because they have everything. So I kind of want to help like the middle ones that just need that extra bump of
that's awesome.
Cash flow for stepping up to the next level and doing bigger things. But yeah, we're just very sustainable, the most sustainable products that you could buy in the textile industry. I'm not talking about just like outdoor industry, but fashion, workers, gear, everything. Zero leaching, zero chemical leaching into the environment, very sustainable, eco-friendly gear, no animal harming, just like every single green check of the happy green list. Yeah. So it's a little bit more pricey, but like the shit's going to last you twice as long as your $80 glove. This one's might be $100 glove or whatever. I don't know how much gloves cost, but it's gonna be a little bit more pricey, but it'll last you twice as long or more.
And I'm all about that. You know, that's why I like working with like Patagonia and other companies that put so much into developing products that are of recycled materials, that are more durable, that they stand behind and they'll repair. You know, that's the best, right? Like you just want to invest one time, hopefully, on that gear.
Yeah, and I just see this huge disconnection, at least from my perspective. I kind of get attached to certain things. You know, you have memories with this gear. It breaks in, it gets comfortable, it kind of molds to your body and your fit. And then it's like having to get new stuff because it's worn out and it's not waterproof or it's torn because of shitty materials or quality is upsetting because, one, I don't want to spend a bunch of money getting new stuff. I don't want to waste gear and like consume more. it's just a fine line of making better quality stuff.
Yeah.
So
you're doing that with the Rafael line from Gordini.
yeah, that, and then I'm trying to work on like some other stuff with backcountry.com for outerwear and all that.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's a year to 2 year process, and I kind of want it like tomorrow because I think the change needs to happen yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also the reality of if you want to mass produce something, get all the other stuff off the shelf, and create a product that's going to last way longer than 2 to 5 seasons, takes a while. So,
oh, sure. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, man. Gear, we talk each other's ears off about that for a long time.
But you know what's funny? I've been riding hard boots for the last 7 months.
Oh,
I got
tell me
soft
more about
boots
that.
the other day. I'm like, okay, I hate this. It sucks. It's bulky, heavy, whatever. But then first run down, I'm like, oh, okay, now I know.
They're
like
comfortable.
before I was saying hard boots is a future, and now I'm saying soft boots is a future. But it's
how
like,
funny.
I'll wake up and I'm like, all right, we're climbing that peak. And I'll just look at my boots from my bed, like they're on the other side of my room, and I'm just looking at them. I'm like, all right, which one do I wear today? It doesn't even matter what type of terrain, how much it snowed.
Really?
Like if there's pillows or not, like you could ride anything with either boots. Just depends on like what mood I'm in, really, like what side of the bed I woke up on. Like, do I feel like wearing soft boots today or hard boots?
Oh,
like,
that's awesome. That's funny as heck to hear too.
yeah.
That's really cool.
Obviously, there's pros and cons, like more
Sure.
efficiency with soft boots, but hard boots, but they're a little bit colder. Soft boots are a little bit more supportive, I'd say. You know, you have that like upper or lower shin support where you don't have with hard boots.
Yeah.
And it sounds wrong, but you modify your hard boots to not feel like ski boots, and you give away those aspects of it. You know, you remove the tongue, you have a lot more flex. But with a snowboard boot, it's designed to shred. A ski boot is not designed to turn that way. I love hard booting. I've probably had like 40 days this winter alone on them, but it needs to change. I mean, it's going to change. It's growing. The hard booters are growing everywhere. And I think it's just a matter of time until the companies who are trying to make hard snowboard boots get it right.
Yeah. No, you know, every time I go out with somebody who rides on hard boots, I just admire how efficient their stride is. And like Scott York goes out with him, and he just kicked my butt on the way up.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I've gone out with hard booters and soft boots who do this every day, and you stay together. It's not even an efficiency. Their stride is longer.
Yes.
But it's not faster. You know what I mean?
Oh.
It might be a little bit more efficient, but in the sense of like snowboarding down, it feels very different. And like, I could say that because I've been doing both, half 50-50.
Yeah.
And snowboarding with soft boots is way better. Climbing with hard boots is way safer. That confidence level when you have hard boots with ice climbing crampons, you're going on rock, ice, or alpine snow, nothing compares to that. I would never, ever use soft boots for anything that's vertical snow or ice or rock.
That's good.
So it's like get the tools and just decide, really.
Right. Okay. So for like aggressive splitboard mountaineering, hard boot.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And everything else, soft boots.
Fair enough.
Unless you're doing like extremely long flat tours, hard boots. Just because you have that extra lean back and lean forward stride that kind of really gives you that full range of motion in your leg muscles, so you don't fatigue as quickly. And
what boots are you using? The Atomic?
That's another conversation. The Atomic Backlands.
Yeah.
The carbon Backlands. Last year's model with the side buckles, the lower buckles, I've broken 2 buckles per boot.
Dang.
Because they're just like right on the lower side by like your outer pinky toe. It's stupid. I don't know why even skiers have those buckles down there. You take them off, you walk in, so the buckle opens. I've ripped them off on rocks, walking in snow, crashing in trees. It's like the buckle is in the wrong place. You know, it's on the outside of the boot and it flips up.
Yeah.
So you're walking, it flips up, then you lose all that pressure that's holding your foot in the boot. And then it's dangerous because your ankle is loose, your foot is loose, and you're like climbing a rock face. Like I've had it open up in the sketchiest situations, and like, yeah, you got ice axes in your hands, you're hanging on the wall, but you're not going to worry about like leaning down where if you fall you die to buckle up your boot. So you got to like risk it climbing with a loose boot. And I've sent Atomic a couple emails and whatever, and This was back in September last year. And then they came out with, I'm not saying it was because of me. I'm sure they had this shit planned 2 years ago. But then they came out with that boa thing on the top of the foot. And I want to get those boots because they look so cool.
Well, let's try and get those boots for you.
I mean, it'll solve every single issue I've had with the boots.
Sweet,
just
that's
the
good to
buckle,
know.
dude.
Yeah.
The buckle is so frustrating, and it breaks the boots, and they're expensive, and you don't want to like buy new boots because the buckle's broke. You don't want to keep buying the same buckle because it's going to break every other day. So yeah, the Atomic Carbon Backland's best snowboard hard boots so far, especially now since they fixed the buckle issue.
Sweet. That's great feedback. Yeah. Well, that's where I'll be going next. I'm going to, this spring, start exploring hard booting more, work with Phantom and Spark on that and see what we can figure out. Oh,
Phantom, by the way, I'm sponsored by Spark R&D, so I know there's like some issues there, but man, they make some cool stuff. They got I don't ride their bindings, but I ride their link lever springs on the Phantoms. And if it wasn't for them that created that, I wouldn't be hard booting at all.
See, that's great. You know, those guys are local too.
Super local, yeah. And they do awesome great stuff. And they've been pushing hard booting hard. They've been pushing the progression of it. I see them all on their social media doing all the tours and events. And I think it's great. They're introducing another tool to people. But then I still like Spark's puck system. I just think it's nice so easy.
Cleans up.
Yeah. But they both collabed. They made the great toe piece for touring, Berry Bomber. So I'm happy to see two of my favorite companies Spark makes the best bindings in the world, but then seeing Phantom, who has also great engineers collaborating and just making things a little bit easier for the tiny, insignificant hard booting crowd of the 200 people in the world who hard boot or whatever.
I think we know half of them.
But I feel like they care about us because they're not really making money off of this.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah, Phantom, on my Never Summer board right there, I have their Phantom Hercules clips. I love those things. It's cool because you get Never Summer, locally made, Phantom, locally made. So I dig it. Supporting people here in town.
That's cool. It's a nice looking board.
Thanks, man. Yeah, that's the Atom. I really dig that one. And the ones above it, Atom from Oz made.
Yeah.
Carbon graphite. But yeah, fun boards. There's a lot of fun boards out there. How many boards do you have in your quiver right now?
I stopped asking for more gear. I've been trying to change my philosophy and just use everything till it's unusable.
Yeah.
I only have 2 split boards and they're the exact same model, the 157 Weston Backwoods.
There it is.
One is for hard boot, one is for soft boot, no solid boards, nothing.
Wow.
So many core shots. Everyone's like, oh, aren't you sponsored? Why can't you get more boards? I'm like, this shit still works. Like, put some P-Tex, slap some wax on it, and it still works. I don't need to get a new board because I can. Yeah,
I'm with you on that. I was with Scott that one time this year. Got a nice core shot. You know, $70 later, some P-Tex. It still rides fine.
Yeah.
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
But yeah, a lot of stuff, and I get a lot of gloves and jackets and stuff for my sponsors, but just give it to my buddies who need gear, and some of them have been wearing it 200 days a year for the last 4 years. I'm like, I would have never done that. So it makes me proud of the whole community of like, hey, do you have anything? Like, I'll trade you something for it. So we always do trades. You know, I traded some food. Some guy gave me some fish the other day, and I gave him some gloves. So
I love bartering for gear too. It's like,
it just makes sense. You know, I don't need 6 pairs of gloves.
No,
but I could eat some nice fish someday.
Oh, for sure.
Give you some gloves. So
yeah, like I've traded for homebrew. I've traded for local honey. I've traded for jams, preserves, like bison meat, like anything. Just trade. It's bartering's where it's at. Oh, this is really exciting. I'm very excited to see both movies when they come out here in the fall.
So am I.
Yeah, I'm excited to all the things you're doing, Rafael. And like, we're just barely scratching the surface on his podcast of what Rafael's up to. He's doing so much good stuff in the world. And what's the best way for people to keep up with you? Is it Instagram?
Instagram is good, but then the Connections Movement website, connectionsmovement.com.
Cool.
I have to update it, but you know, it's hard to keep up. I can't even keep up with like half the stuff I do, and I'm not patting myself on the back. It's actually super stressful and exhausting.
Yeah.
Because I want to go snowboarding every day, but then I feel like I have a responsibility of knowing what I know, and having to do certain things that make me uncomfortable. But I have a lot of talks this year at universities around the world, places where I'm going to be already. I'm not going out of my way to fly across the world just for one thing. I try to put 10 things in one trip or whatever. But yeah, it's great. People have given me the platform to speak whatever I want to speak my mind, and having the freedom to be creative however I want and say whatever I want. And people are willing to listen. It's like, it's pretty insane. Like going to a university in Illinois here for Earth Week, and I'm leading a climate strike and giving like a Earth Week commencement speech or whatever. I don't really know. I haven't read all the details in the email, which I should. But I'm like, hey, so what do you guys want me to talk about? Like Earth Week or Earth Day or whatever? And they're like, you could talk about literally whatever you want.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, cool. So like when someone respects the freedom of speech that much, it gives me like the feeling of wanting to do a way better job than they're expecting.
Yeah.
So I've been writing like speeches, ideas here and there. I want to do like a presentation, like just blow their socks off essentially, just because they're treating me with so much love and respect that, you know, I don't have the opportunity all the time to say and do whatever I want. So once you get the stage, it's like, let's do it way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you, man. That's well deserved. So much cool stuff, Rafael.
Yeah, it's fun, and a couple film festivals coming up where my movies aren't even ready, but I get to go talk about everything. And like half of the crowd is far right Trump supporting people, and they're still there to listen. They might not agree on what I have to say, but at the end of the day, I'm just preaching two things, which are environmental justice and social justice. I don't care if you're Trump's cousin or Bernie's brother, like whatever, like they should both be on the same side for environmental rights and human rights.
I agree 100%.
Everything else is just a fine detail that could be solved in Congress or with other discussions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well said, Rafael. Really well said. Wow. Well, I know you have another meeting to get to, but I want to thank you for your time in discussing about 10%, which you're probably really working on right now. And I love you, man. I'm so proud of you for what all you do, and you're just a great person. Thank you for everything you do.
No, I mean, I appreciate just the whole relationship and everything that's been going. I'm stoked to see that you have all this fancy equipment now. And I remember when you first started, it wasn't bad, but it was just very different. And
yeah, it was
when you started Engearment, it was just you and like one or two other people, and now you have an army. And I see you at OR, see you at events on social media. I'm like, Jesus, who isn't with Engearment these days?
I think I'm going to cap it at 25. I think we're at 25 right now. I'm going to cap
but it's great, like all the work you guys are doing. I mean, I wear like I'm going to Chile today, and I'm trying to pack last night. I'm like, oh shit, I don't have any clothes. Like going through my closet, it's like, all right, jacket, ski pant, like base layers, ski socks. I'm like, I don't have any clothes.
Yeah.
And then I started realizing, I'm like, I have a lot of gear, and sometimes, I mean, it's all I wear every single day, and I have all this experience wearing the gear, but it's just my perspective. So I go to your website and I read the posts and I read every detail. I'm like, there's always something new to learn, and it's very cool. Very cool, because not everyone, but there's a lot of gear review pages out there, and some people just fake it to get the gear or do a shitty job. Like, oh, let's go tour at the ski resort and do it for 2 hours and say, these boots are great, but like you didn't break them in. You don't know what it's about.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that you and your army, especially you, are just going out there and not testing it once, but multiple times to give people the good feedback that they need. Because a lot of people don't know what they're buying. They don't know the difference between Patagonia and North Face or 32 boots and Nitro boots or whatever, you know. Like, I don't even know. So it's like when I bought soft boots, I went Google for 2 straight days. I'm like, fuck, where do I even start? Like, do I Google soft snowboard boots? Like, yeah, but then you get all these ads, and everyone hates ads. I want detailed, like, proof of someone who used it and said, hey, it wasn't bad. Like it starts bad and it breaks in and then it works or whatever. But it's nice to have the reassurance of spending a shit ton of money on something that you can't return once you use it in most cases, that it's going to work for you. So
yeah, it's a big investment. Well, I'm glad that you appreciate what we do, and thank you for helping us do it, because I've used you as a resource on a lot of stuff. I'm like, hey.
I haven't done much, though. I haven't written any review articles, but you're more than willing to pick my brain whenever.
Oh, I do.
I'll give you all the beta you want.
I included your comments in the 32 Boots twice now, along with Russell Cunningham, who's going to be on the show next week. And it's fun getting your perspective, and I'm glad you appreciate it. And you've been a great supporter since like day one. And yeah, that's the goal of Engearment, right?
Yeah.
Different viewpoints of outdoors, what people like, for what reasons, and hopefully the readers, viewers, listeners appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, my 2 cents on those 32 boots. Jeremy Jones is a great guy, but like, the fuck are you doing with those boots, you know?
Pretty heavy.
Like, you got those hard boots. You got the hard Phantom, Atomic Backland boots. Great for one extreme. And then you got soft, like semi-soft or rigid boots, lower profile, great boots. Like, I have the Nitro Team TLS boots, and they're amazing. But you don't need a mixture of both, because you do not get the best of both worlds. You get the shitty side of both. And
That's a good takeaway.
I appreciate what Jeremy's done for the industry. He's a great dude. Powell, Jones, everything he's done for the progression of the sport. But those boots need to hang up and burn or something. And I mean, I'm not saying this from riding them for years all over the world, because I have. And I love them. I really love them. And I told the whole world these are the best boots. But till you try new things, you don't understand how uncomfortable they are. Pressure points. I had them heat molded, went to the best boot specialist, everything. And then I got hard boots. I'm like, wow, amazing. And now I'm back to super soft, like semi-soft, rigid boots. And I'm like super comfortable and happy on both ends. No pressure points. They're both lightweight. They're both flexible as much as I need them, because they're adjustable. But I'm not uncomfortable, and my boa's not breaking, and I don't have all this extra bulk. Like, I don't need to have semi-auto crampons on my snowboard boots on the normal POW day, you know? So I don't need to wear those kinds of boots if I'm not doing that.
So yeah, to your point, I think most splitboarders can get by with just a comfortable snowboard boot.
Yeah.
And be totally fine.
Any boot. It doesn't matter. It could be a park rat boot. It could be more of a stiff all-mountain free ride boot. Like, anything works, but unless you're really getting after it, like mountaineering-wise, why would you go with a boot that weighs 2.5 times more? Can't go full pro crampons. Is bulky. It could break. It has pressure points. You can't tighten it as much as you want. It's not molded to your foot. I mean, I'm not trying to trash the boots. They're great, whatever, but go hard boots.
Yeah, if you're going to do the mountaineering, get the hard boots. If you're going to go shredding.
Just spring shredding. Like, it's fun. You could take them off in 2 seconds. Like, it's hot. You take them off. Your feet breathe. Yeah.
When was it? Was it you're hanging out with Eric Layton and you were watching him enjoy the hard boots, and then you were asking me my opinion? I didn't have an opinion yet. Yeah. And then is that when you transitioned?
That was like, Larry Banks, Eric Layton, Rance, all those weird old dudes in the powder highway of like BC to the US. Like, they're weird. Those guys are weird, but they're all like my extended weird uncles I hate seeing, but I love shredding with sometimes. Yeah. And they're all in hard boots, and it's like, shit's working for them. They're guides. They're extremely proficient snowboarders. They're hobbyists. They enjoy it, and they do it full time, like with the hard boots. Yeah. So I think it's rad. Ty Mills as well. There's a lot of guys out there hard booting, and they're doing great things with the sport. But just try it. And if you don't like it, don't do it. Right. And
I think it's a great thing, like Phantom's doing. They'll do demo days where you can try on the boots, and like it, love it, get on it. You don't like it, go get some soft boots. Oh, that's good stuff. Well, Rafael,
I hope no one's too sensitive about my comments about hating on certain things, because that's the whole point. Like, you got to have your opinion on certain things. I get death threats and hateful comments every single hour of the day, and half of them I just laugh. I'm like, oh, cool, I got called a communist again. I'm not even a communist, or I mean, whatever. I get the weirdest comments, and I'm like, hey, I appreciate you reaching out to me and hating, because that is the freedom that we have. It sounds stupid, but it's like you have your cell phone, you have your iPhone, and you follow me on Instagram, or you found my email off of my website after watching my movie, and you're telling me that you don't agree with my point of view or the people that I interviewed. That's great. You know, let's have a discussion, or you could hate on me, whatever. I don't care, you know?
Well, yeah, that's a good point. Freedom of speech. I mean, a lot of people fought, served to get that for us.
Well, a lot of people take it for granted, especially here in the States, because, you know, I've gone to many countries where you get silenced. You either get silenced right away because you're saying something that people don't agree with, especially the government, or you just can't say things because it's culturally not appropriate. And not saying that's okay, because there's a lot of parts of certain cultures that are very old in their ways, oppressing, you know, certain minorities or women and such. And that shit needs to change. But whatever. I have my opinion on hard boots and soft boots. I have my opinion in politics and the environment, and so should you. So
yeah, it makes the world a more colorful and beautiful place.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully nobody gives you a death threat because you don't like the Jones boots that much. But
and if they do, whatever, that's I love their passion for being so passionate on hating on me for hating on the boots. Like, that's great. I
just had an epiphany. I realized, I think the very first conversation you and I had was over boots. Somebody was ripping on me for a boot review of like Fitwell or something, and then you jumped in and...
Oh, Facebook, I love fucking with people. They take it too seriously. It's
they do.
Your foot isn't the same as my foot, so you... Or your foot's not the same as their feet, so you can't hate and say like, hey, buy this boot because it fucking works for me. It's like, cool, how much are they paying you? You're like... Dude, people have different pain tolerances for shitty Fitwell boots. I'm sorry if you wear Fitwell boots, but
they are
why?
Shit.
You know,
heavy.
But yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was. And you are a man of your word. You fight for what you believe in. You're passionate.
Okay, but it sounds bad if you're saying I fight for hard boot, soft boot, right boot.
That's comical. You know, that part's comical. But what you're doing in the bigger picture of the world is awesome and admirable. So. Yeah, we'll try and end it on that note, because that kind of summarizes you. You speak your mind. You advocate for what I think are really great things, and I think most people would agree. You make beautiful movies. They show great culture and diversity. And just thank you for doing this. I really appreciate it.
But one thing I want to share with you guys is something I didn't know was happening on the Tupungatu expedition, but I told the filmers take oh, your camera died?
Right at 1 hour. Yeah, we'll do it again.
Well, at least you have the 1 hour battery lifespan.
Yeah.
That's a pretty low battery lifespan.
I'll say.
We should do a gear review on that.
We should. Keep on talking. I'm going to do the other camera.
The DJI. I don't know if you guys should buy that.
Don't buy it.
What's it called? The Osmo.
Right at 1 hour. Turn off.
All right, guys, we're taking a technical break. But fun story. I was on the flight today and we almost crashed. So I'm living in Whitefish right now, and the Glacier International Airport, as I like to call it, because it flies into Calgary, which is like an hour away, driving-ish. There's thick clouds over Denver today, like thick clouds. You couldn't see anything, ice clouds. And the small planes, I'm talking about like 60 people in the plane, so it moves a lot. Very turbulent. I hate flying in and out of the glacier.
I can't do that.
But there's a lot of old people in Whitefish and Kalispell, like median age is like 48 or something. And man, I shouldn't have laughed out loud in the plane, but it was funny. The plane was shaking the whole time, and it was 5:30 a.m. flight, and we went down into the clouds to land today, and out of the blue, like the whole fucking thing was shaking, like rain or whatever, and the pilot just like pulls the steering wheel and probably went like 45 degrees straight up in like seconds. You could feel the G-forces, and I was like, oh shit, we're diving, because I couldn't tell because we were in the clouds, and I don't know if it was going down or up.
Yeah.
And everyone around me, I just look around, and people are like yelling, and they're holding their heart, like, because they're old people. I'm like, oh shit, everyone's having a heart attack. Some people were farting. I don't know if they were sleeping. It was like a fear fart. And I was like, geez, what's going on? And then we just circled the clouds for a while. And then the pilot went on and he's like, the ACT device, I don't know what that is or if that are the acronyms that he said, but he's like, there were some technical issues with the clouds and we couldn't see that there was another plane coming towards us. And I'm like, okay, but this pilot, the captain, he pulled up so aggressively. I've flown my whole life and I have friends who are pilots and I talked to them about it today and they're like, pilots only do that shit when something is really bad.
Yeah.
But he went straight up and the plane just like popped out of the clouds and it was insane and people were yelling and I was just laughing. I'm like, oh shit, this is how I die. Like I don't die from like politicians and mobs trying to kill me or mountains. I die in like this shitty flight with everyone that's older than my grandparents.
Yeah.
So and people are farting. I was like, Jesus, why is this? I was like, why is this happening?
Oh,
but
farting.
Yeah, that was wild. Oh no, but what I was saying is like that my editor, my lead supervising editor in Chile, he calls me the other day. We're good friends, you know, so we like shoot the shit, go grab beers or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's how you need to be when you're doing art stuff with people and collaborating. But he's like, hey, I know you told the filmers to interview your crew while on the expedition to see how everyone's feeling, their thoughts, you know, kind of like a TV reality show. Like, sure. Hey, how do you feel about Rafa or Eric doing this? And like, how are you feeling about the expedition or the weather or Jeremy having a hairline fraction on his leg or Jonas throwing up and peeing out his butthole at the same time, you know, like these fucked up things, or people stealing food or like all these crazy things on the expedition where like it's life or death and all these very like childish serious issues are happening. Like they interview me and I'm just like so blatantly honest to people's faces or on the camera, and you could see that in the film. I'm not the hero that everyone's gonna think I am in the film. I'm like the anti-hero because I'm just going there like my mission is to protect this place. Like I don't care if I look like shit or not, but I look super bad because I'm just like bitching out my whole crew. I'm like, hey guys, don't fucking steal food. We got rations. Like, don't do this. We all got this game plan. And it's like, I'm almost like I don't know, super strict. But then I started watching the interviews on like my crew about me. And like, man, I don't know if I'm a shitty person, but some of the stuff they said, I just laughed. I should have cried and been angry and called them and be like, hey, is that how you feel about me? But I just laughed. I'm like, because that's how they felt. And then I watched like 45 minutes later or 2 days later, like Rafa's the man, like I can't believe you're pulling this off. And then like 4 hours later, it's like Rafa's taking us the wrong fucking way. We just did 8,000 feet today. And it's like, but here's the thing, when you're pioneering, going to a place where you've never been to and doing something that's never been done, you don't really know how to do it. And you just have to adapt to the situation. And there's certain mindsets that can't adapt to change and they start crumbling under pressure. It's like, oh, plan A didn't work out. Okay, fine, we'll do plan B. But if plan B doesn't work out, we're calling it off. I'm like, fuck this. We're going to go through all the alphabets and all the different languages until we run out of food. And then we're going to kill the weakest link in the crew. And then we're going to continue
Lord
doing
of the Flies.
I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But
you go through the alphabet though. Yeah.
I go through the whole alphabet, but I won't go A, B, C. Maybe I'll go like A, H, Z, back to B. Because it's all dependent on like how your whole crew is feeling, what the food situation is, did anyone get injured, is the weather coming in strong, is it better? Like you adapt to good and bad things, not just bad things. And I just saw that in my crew. Like some of them were like, cool, I understand we're adapting. And some were like, Rafa doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Like, yeah, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing for 30% of the time, but the other 70% I knew. And the worst part is I can't lie to my crew and tell them like, hey, this is going to be great. Like, we're going to make it. High fives at the top and then beers and like hugs, whatever. I was like, every time something bad happened, I wouldn't tell them the whole truth, but I'd be like, this is fucked. Like, I don't know if we're going to make it. This is day 3 out of 20 days. And, you know, you see the morale go to shit. So then you kind of sugarcoat it a little bit more. You're like, maybe I won't say this shit's not going to happen. I'm like, oh, this isn't looking that good. You know, like say it a little bit less aggressively. But, oh man, I can't wait to share with everybody the shit talking that went down.
I want to see
because it's like we have protests, we have like guns, shooting, people being run over, all this crazy stuff in the city. we have lawyers looking into politicians accepting millions of dollars from mining operations to look the other way to destroy these mountains. We're trying to create a national park. We're fighting, the president's people, the EPA lady, the Minister of National Lands, all these big dogs, and we're interviewing the best scientists in the Latin America, activists, politicians, the whole thing. And that's like half of the film, but then you got like a crew of weird dudes on this expedition.
Yeah.
Lugging this shit around, eating like fusilli pasta for 5 days in a row because no one liked that freeze-dried food, so we all had to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the last 5 days, and everyone was in a shitty mood because of that. And I'm like, hey guys, if you don't like the fusilli pasta that much, space it out through 20 days. Don't just save it for the last 5 days.
Yeah.
So I got in trouble for that too. It's like, fuck, I'm sorry guys. Like, some of you guys are 50, some of you guys are 40. Like, I'm the youngest person on this expedition, and I got to babysit everyone. But man, it's gonna be entertaining to see the shit talking that went down, because it's like we're doing serious stuff and it's a big project for conservation and opening the eyes of the world, but at the same time there's like some messed up, dark, comedic, dramatic relief in the way of, like, one of the filmers, when he gets upset, he's yelling for Satan. But he's not yelling for Satan to come help him. He's like, instead of saying like, I don't know, he's just like, it's like he's Finnish. I don't know what the fuck he's saying half the time, but he's like yelling Satanas, like because he's struggling. His backpack weighs 70 pounds.
Sure.
You're going up such big peaks, 20 days of not showering, being uncomfortable, and like people were pushed to the limit, and
mentally and physically.
Yeah, and like there's shots where I just bitch at people. I'm like, why are you taking a fucking lunch and water break every 2 hours? Like, only one lunch and water break a day. Like. And then I realized that maybe I shouldn't be that strict. Maybe I should be more compassionate. And I've been working on that. But
that's a good skill to have.
Yeah. And then there's shots of me just grabbing everyone else's gear and breaking my back, carrying it up, and then that's collapsing like as the camera turns and sees me hiking away, and then just me laying there on their 4 bags, and I can't even take them off because I've like slipped on the ice.
Yeah. And
you got your skins and you're split all over the place, and you got these big 130-liter duffel bags, 2 of them on top of you, and you got a big backpack on your back and on your chest, and you can't get up. So it's like the people you bitched at have to come help you and be like, hey, this is the most humbling experience of your life. And you grow on these expeditions, you break friendships. Like, there were 7 of us. I am not friends with 2 of them. Well, the whole crew is not friends with 2 of them because they screwed the whole crew over, but the rest of us are like way better friends now. We're closer. We like text each other, like, hey, how's like your life going? Like, I hope you're doing well. And we never texted each other like that before. So it's like, you're not supposed to be friends with everyone. Relationships are meant to break.
Yes.
And then that's how you find the perfect crew to do future projects on and off the mountain with.
Yeah.
But I have to say that because that was very entertaining, and I wasn't expecting that at all.
Yeah. I look forward to the outtakes and that. That's crazy, but it's true. Relationships are tough.
It's tough.
Yeah, and you were literally in a sufferfest for a long, long time. So, yeah. Well, speaking of plans A through D, like we've got 2 cameras, 3 audio recording devices, and only 2 have broken so far.
Like 17 water bottles up here.
Yeah, at least 17 water bottles, backup chapstick. But that's how we roll, right? Adventure.
I can't wait to come on the 3rd podcast, and you got like a whole sound studio.
Oh man,
with a bartender.
We'll have
like,
Finnish people with cameras. It'd be great.
Just yelling Satanas.
Satanas. Yeah. Well, I look forward to the 3rd one, and I look forward to just seeing you again. It's always a pleasure, Rafael.
Likewise. All
right, and to you listeners out there, go follow Rafael on Instagram. Here's Rafael Pease on Instagram.
Yeah.
Cool. And then connectionsmovement.com. I'll have links to that in the show notes. And then once Eugen is free, I will definitely have that up shared as well.
Eugen, Corcovado, Tupungatu. We got a couple other very like Alice in Wonderland shred edits coming out, which are fun, trippy. Because whatever, we're not the best snowboarders. We're not Travis Rice's or whatever, but like, we're way weirder than he is, so we can have fun too and entertain people in the same different ways. And some other stuff like more some stuff in Africa, some stuff in Eastern Europe, which has nothing to do with snow, but it's a great opportunity to do change via film. So a little bit of everything for all crowds, all ages, really.
You're fighting a good fight, Rafael. It's awesome.
Thanks, Sean.
My pleasure, man. And thank you for listening, and I love you.